You ready for this?
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn. Hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Who needs a brew? Oh, I do. Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
All right, let's try this again. Welcome to the 38th episode of Trollin HGC, a Heroes of the Storm podcast focused on esports and a member of the Trolls.gg Entertainment Network. I am your host, LiQuid, and I'm back finally, joined as always by Bahgz. How's it going, man?
So I don't want to say I told you so, but I was half right about Tempest not winning the Eastern Clash. So they didn't win, but I was wrong about KSV.
You were more than half right, man. They did not win. You definitely called that. I turned it on, and I was super disappointed in the match, and there's not much you can do about it at that point, right? Like, what are you going to do? Like, the match is the match, and they lost, and I was like, all right, it's cool. Maybe they can get back through the bottom bracket and come back and challenge them in the grand finals for a win. And then Ballistics was like, hell no, and spanked them. And you know what, though? I'm going to go with at least KSV Black didn't win. I like Ballistics winning there. That made me happy.
All right.
So,
Yeah. I expected KSV to win. So I was wrong in that respect, but I was happy to see Ballistics win too. It's nice to see these two Titans going at it like it was the beginning of 2017.
Right. Absolutely. So, how are things, man? It's been well, we did the weekly Blizz last week, which was awesome.
So yeah, I wanted to bring that up. So thank you for coming on the show. That meant a lot to Gwaz and I. He's in the process of producing that episode onto YouTube. It's going to be a YouTube only episode. We had a little bit of a audio issue where he's a lot louder than the rest of us, but streaming that show and eventually making it to that show was a ton of fun. It was our 50th episode. So thank you for coming on. Bacon, if you're listening, if you're watching, thank you for joining us. I don't know if the Junkertown guys listen, but I appreciate them getting up ass early in the morning to join us on that show too and talk some Overwatch. It was a lot of fun.
Cool. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time doing it. So thank you for inviting me, and congratulations on 50 for the week.
Big 5-0, yeah.
Yeah. So before we jump into the news, how about you tell all of our listeners about our Patreon?
Can do. So, guys, listen, we have a Patreon. It's where you, the listener, the viewer, can support the show. You can basically be our boss. You can go to patreon.com/trolls.gg, and there you can donate $1 a month, $2 a month, $5 a month. It's a one monthly charge, and basically you're donating money to help us improve the quality of our show. As well, you get some rewards out of that. So there are goals that we're trying to achieve, and specifically the next goal we have up, we're only $3 away, is after show games. So after each and every show that we do, which is basically the Nexus Trolls and Trolling HGC that we produce live on Twitch, we'll do after show games on Twitch. We'll stream them, and you guys can join us in game in Heroes of the Storm and play some video games with us. As well, you get some personal rewards. So like if you're a $1 a month patron, basically you get to get early access to the show notes as in our Discord every single week, so you can follow along with the show notes. As well, if we have any other stretch goals that include viewers and listeners, patrons get priority, and you'll become one of those. The other tier is Chieftains. If you're a $10 or more patron, you become a chieftain, and looking at you, Super Dave, our only current chieftain right now, and you get producer credit with all the other rewards. You get producer credit at the end of every single show. So guys, if you want to help us grow and improve, check out Patreon.
Absolutely. And then in addition to our Patreon, we always like to thank our troll of the week. And this week it is Ender Wiggin. Found us through Gankbush Squad. Is actually on Daz, myself, Schizophrenic, and Lord Boo. Lord Boo being our editor and Schizophrenic being one of our writers on Trolls.gg, are on a beer league team, and Ender Wiggin is the 5th member of that. He's also always hanging out in both Discords and chatting. So thank you, Ender, for being. Also, I love the name. Not gonna lie, favorite book growing up, but thank you for being our troll of the week.
Is that like Ender's Game? I don't get
Yes,
the reference.
that
You're
is
gonna have to let
Ender's
me know.
Game. Yep,
Ender's
that is
Game?
exactly
Like
what that is.
that
But
they
there's a
made that
whole,
movie?
there's actually a whole book series.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I think it's 9 books now. But yes, Ender Wiggin is the main
Oh, wow.
character in like 6 or 7 of the books. And
Okay.
then the last couple, it's did you see the movie?
No,
Okay, so
you'd have to talk to Guaz about it. He's all about that.
I'm like super nerd, and that's one of my favorite movies. And well, no, I'm sorry, it's one of my favorite books. The movie kind of sucked compared to the book, but that's the way movies they are. Anyway, there's a whole second set of books that were released later that's about one member of the team. It's this whole thing, but yeah, Ender
Cool.
Wiggin.
Hold on, I have to address some accusations that are being thrown at me right now. First of all, Dorsch, when I was a kid, I read all the Redwall books for some light reading. So if you want to read about little mice saving the world, Redwall.
There you go.
And
There you
second
go.
of all, as an adult, I've been reading a lot of the Jack Reacher novels. Thank you very much.
Ooh, those are good.
American hero. Yeah, they're great.
Those are good. Those are good. I like it.
So yeah. And
so there.
and Ganja, you're right. So I got nothing for you, man. Yeah, no bag production this week, thank God. So thanks for filling in 2 weeks ago, man, to cover the
Dude.
Western Clash. That was big.
Dude. Yeah. All right. Let's you want to jump into some news?
Yeah, let's do it, dude.
Tonight on the Trolls.gg podcast network, Trollin HGC proudly presents Heroes eSports news, notes, and drama with your hosts, LiQuiuD and Bahgz.
All right. So first, I apologize. I'm still a little rough. It's been a while since I've done production. Second, only one news item that we're gonna kind of go over right now. I don't know how much you guys follow the tweets and Reddit. Some of you probably follow it like we do, some of you not so much. But Erho of Simplicity was suspended for the rest of 2018 by Blizzard. Cannot compete in any HGC, whether it's Open Division or HGC Premier League. And he's out the rest of 2018. How do we feel about this?
I was gonna ask, do you have any strong opinions as to how this went down personally? And then I'll chime in with what I've kind of been mulling.
Do I have... All right, first of all, to answer Ganjagoon, yes, Simplicity did let him go. He's no longer on the roster because he was suspended for the rest of 2018. So that is absolutely correct. They're playing with a sub this week, and I think...
they're looking for a permanent replacement.
Right. But he was fined, he was suspended, and Simplicity released. So I definitely think that there needs to be punishments in place. I do not disagree with that. I think if you read the rules, which I've gone over a number of times, Blizzard was well within their rights to suspend him for the rest of the season. I think we only saw part of the issue, right? We saw, if you read Twitter and you read Reddit, a lot of people were trying to like sleuth together exactly what happened, which I totally get, right? Like people want to know what happened and why people were suspended. So I get it. But I think we only saw part of it. We only saw the part that people were able to pull together. We didn't necessarily see everything that Blizzard had access to. And that's what I think concerned some people, was that it was like a real generic statement without a lot of meat backing it up. And maybe that was because he's a private citizen and they didn't want to do that. Or maybe that's because, like in typical Blizzard fashion, we're going to ban you from a game, but we're not going to tell you why. And so they stuck with that. But here we are.
So I guess my gripe with it is they cited the rules that he broke, but they didn't give us the specific instances. And now, like you said, you know, the TMZers of the internet, of the Heroes community went out there and dug up the tweets and like, you know, copy pasted Reddit threads and screenshots and this of like all these various things that he said in the past, which, and some of it is like,
right,
you know, like, whoa, that's a real person's thoughts. And, you know, but I wish they would have given us the specific instance, like what was the straw that broke the camel? You could say like he's been counseled several times about, previous things he said. And then this particular instance, and they give us like specifically like just a link or something and like say like this was the straw that broke the camel's back. And then you can say like, because when someone's playing like Blizzard is playing judge, jury, and executioner, right? Like you want them to provide evidence to justify the decisions that they're making, right? Like you can't just go like, and you want to know that they're not just doing it based on like popular, like, the fans' popular opinion or something like that. You want them to like, I don't know.
So let me ask you 2 questions.
Yep.
So Dorsch brings up a good point that they probably told Erho and they don't want to release it and Erho doesn't want to release it. If they told Erho, these are the exact 7 things you did or whatever that number is, would that be enough for you?
Oh yeah. Like if it like, well, I guess if 7 is probably over the line. I believe,
I'm pulled that number out of my ass.
I'm like, I'm like one worse than baseball. I believe you get 2 strikes. Like you F up once, learn from it. The next time you F up, wash your hands. You're done. Okay.
All right.
And that's how I work at work, and that's how I work. That's how I work. Yep. I treat myself in real life too. I've made mistakes. I learn from. I grow up.
So let me ask you
on.
a different question. If Blizzard had said, because instead what we got is we warned him multiple times, or he's repeatedly broken the rules, I think is what they said, if I remember correctly. Yeah. If they had said we gave them 6 warnings, or we gave him 6 warnings, or we gave him 4 warnings, or whatever that magic number was, if they said he broke the rules 3 times and we warned him 3 times and this was the 4th and that was that, with that, do you think that's enough for you to say, you know what? I don't know specifically what happened, but if they warned him X number of times, yeah, he probably deserved that.
I think if they've spoken to him multiple times, that it's totally fair.
Okay.
What I wish is that we would have seen I will say this, so I wish we would have seen a prior
warning.
Suspension.
So let me ask this question, because this was brought up on Twitter, I think this morning or yesterday. I don't remember when, but a listener. I'm gonna assume that this person's a listener. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna assume that XXL Epic is a listener because he tweeted us and he tweeted maybe it was ITN or maybe it was for.
A long time ago.
No, he did it like yesterday.
Oh, really? Yeah, he tweeted at us.
He tweeted at us yesterday.
I know who you're speaking of.
All right, perfect. Oh no, he tweeted us and he tweeted TBK Zord, and brought up, how is Erho getting suspended, but Arcaner telling someone to kill themselves isn't punished at all. So this is where I'm going with this, because him and I had a couple of DMs this morning because I couldn't find the tweet longer that Arcaner had posted when this all went down. I do remember this going down, but I could not find the tweet longer. He found it for me and sent it to me. So here's my question. Maybe Blizzard actually did something to Arcaner. Maybe it was a fine and they didn't publicly say anything about it, which is their privilege as the person paying the money.
Yeah.
But if they did fine Arcaner and they didn't tell anybody about it, and then Arcaner screwed up again and they booted Arcaner for 2 weeks for repeated offenses, would we be okay with that? Right? And this kind of relates into Erho. Is punishment without telling people there's punishment enough for us to say, yeah, Blizzard did something and move on?
I would like to see it publicly, I think, right? I don't think you can just boot someone without, and to say that we've spoken to him in the past, I think that we would need to see it publicly. I think.
Okay. Well, let's take Mopsio as another good example. Mopsio screwed up last season, got a 1-week suspension.
Right. So I think I guess that's what I'm leaning on. And I understand that the suspension is directly, the result of the consequence of the suspension, right? The length of the suspension is derived from the offense, right? So I get that. So Mopsio getting a little salty and throwing a game in Hero League, and then having that get blown up on Reddit, cost him a weekend. That's fine. That's good. And, this is completely something else. And he's banned for, a year.
Right.
Now, I just think that if they're like I said, if they're going to use the saying like, hey, we've spoken to him several times about this, maybe he should have had a a couple weekend ban or a whole phase, like half a phase. Like say he missed up to the clash, and now Erho was coming back now for part 2 of phase 1, right?
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So let's assume that he screwed up this week or during the clash, okay? Because that's, you bring up a really interesting point. So here's my question for you. Let's say he screwed up at this point during the clash, during the Western clash, the Eastern clash, doesn't matter. During the period of time between part 1 and part 2. So Blizzard says,
time off.
Right. Blizzard says, we're going to suspend you for all of part 2. Okay. His situation doesn't really change. Simplicity is going to go, you know what? We're not keeping you. We can't afford it. Why would we keep you for part 2? We need a player that we know will play with us for all of part 2 and then possibly into phase 2, right? There's no way a team keeps somebody that's banned for 5 weeks. Like, why would you do that to yourself? So in essence, he's in the same situation. The only advantage he has is he can try and find an open division team for phase 2, right?
And he can get picked up as a free agent in phase 2. Yeah.
Right.
Now he can't. Now he's
totally hosed, right? And yes, it's totally a suspension and not a ban. But let's be honest. If you were suspended for 3/4 of a season in any sport, chances are pretty good you're not really playing on a tier 1 team next season. Right? Like,
I'm gonna ask you something. Now, I don't know Erho's age, but I believe he's one of the older pros.
Yes.
Either approaching 30 or over 30. So older for a pro gamer, my age essentially. And is he done? Is it over?
Question.
I think it's done. Personally, I think it's over.
So, okay. First of all, if you're a fan of the show, I'm not a huge fan of simplicity. I think everybody can agree to that. Secondly, he is definitely on the latter half of his career. He's 28, by the way. He was born in 89. I just checked it real quick.
All right, so he's literally the same age as me.
He hasn't really won anything major in a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was on Naventic. Tempo Storm tried to rehabilitate him. That didn't work out. On No Tomorrow, he was on Superstars. He's been around. He's been around. Old Gods, now Simplicity, of course. On Stellar Lotus with and I'm going blank on Jesse Cox, right? Like, he's been around, but I don't see him coming back from this. Why would you take a chance? It's not like he's Dennis Rodman, right? Well, that's a bad example, but you know what I mean. Like, it'd be different if he was the sickest player.
It's not a terrible example. It's
okay.
It's a player who is similar to XQC, and we talked about him on the Weekly Blizz last week.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Similar, not identical, very different situations, and the reason why they constantly get themselves in trouble. Well, not so different, but they get themselves into trouble, right? Say talented players. Dennis Rodman, Hall of Fame caliber basketball player, hell of a rebounder.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But brought a sideshow, to the locker room, right? Like that was
right.
He was a little bit of a head case. Now, I'm not going to say Erho's a head case, but you have the concerns about reliability. Is this guy going to get himself into trouble? What outside of the game that's going to cost us and that baggage? Yeah, for a player that has been bouncing around. Yep. Getting older, fringe good, fringe average, as far as HGC players go, right? Like, not an all-star, but not terrible either, right? He's just he's Erho. He's just it's Erho. So
right.
He's done. The risk is not worth the reward. Put it that way. I think he's done. And there's nothing, it's time to go. He had his time in the sun. So I think it's over. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay. It looks like chat agrees that it's over. I happen to agree too. But if you're watching and you're here, throwing a poll into chat right now. I'm thinking everybody saw that.
I got it. Notification went through. Good job.
Cool. cool. So everybody, go throw a vote on straw poll. Let's see what you guys all think. And we'll come back to this. Definitely come back to this. But yeah, I happen to agree. I think he's done. I mean, the votes are pouring in yes. There's not a single no vote, and people in chat definitely saying yes. So I'm gonna go with yeah. We got our first no.
We'll look at it. We'll look at it.
We'll look at it towards the end of the show. And we'll
look at it at the end of the show. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Now I want it. Now let's talk about Arcaner, because you have it here in the notes, and I think it's important because so far, currently, no disciplinary action has been taken against him, as we understand.
That we know of.
Unless, I think if they find him, that's got to be public knowledge, right? They could maybe they've counseled him, they've had a conversation with him. Some representative has gotten in touch with him and they've talked.
Right.
But I feel like if there was to be a fine, it would have been public. If there would have been a suspension, it would have been public. Now, he put out a really well-written tweet longer. I thought it was great. That being said, I think, regardless of the context of what he wrote, I don't necessarily. There hasn't been any disciplinary action taken against Arcaner. If I was in charge, I would probably drop the 1 week suspension that they gave Mopsio. Like, it's a slap on the wrist. It can be devastating to your team if they're in the thick of the race. It can cost them later down the line. But I think that there should be some sort of disciplinary action taken.
Okay.
But nothing crazy. I think that his tweet longer was really insightful. I think it says a lot. And we'll go from there. It's like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. And then, so if were it to happen again, that's when it gets significantly harsher. That's all. But, maybe it was just a one-time thing. We don't know. But I don't think they should do nothing.
The one thing I will throw out there, he says before I apologize in the tweet longer, but then he never actually apologized. He never
apologizes in the tweet longer. I know. I saw that.
So, like, I have a problem with that personally. It's cool to say before I apologize, I want to get this out there and explain yourself. I have no problem with that. My problem with his apology is there was no actual apology. But, it is what it is, right? It's also different, but...
Well, I guess, unless you say, however, it's unacceptable to say this to a Hero League team. I guess we should clarify. He said to a Hero League teammate to end themselves IRL. However, it's unacceptable to say this to a Hero League teammate. I guess that I do not know personally. I guess that you can consider that an apology.
Well, that's just saying I was wrong. Like, that's all that is. That's admitting to the wrongdoing, but not actually saying, I'm sorry for doing this, right?
I think it's implied. I don't think you have to say the exact words, I am sorry, to convey apology.
Okay.
An apologetic tone.
I do not
condone
think something
sinister behavior that would intentionally make someone miserable.
Right. I do, however, think something should. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think there should be some disciplinary action.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll see what happens.
All right. You want to go into some results?
Yeah, we can move on.
It's gonna be a 1-for-1 trade. It's a 1-for-1 trade as we once again have the Dragon Blade used on the side of Genji. He's tried that in, dashes out, sail yellow.
That was just about the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's a dance party and you're invited.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to HGC Western Clash.
All right, so before we jump into Eastern Clash results, in the vein of let's keep everybody up to date on other regions around the world, let's go over some ANZ stuff. All right. Week 4, or not week 4. Yeah, week 4 concludes on Thursday. Wow, all messed up here.
it's flying by.
Right? So week 4 is going to end on Thursday, the 22nd. Right now, Nomiya is clearly sitting in first place with a 6-0 record. Crimson Gaming and Outlaws Gaming coming up behind them pretty quickly. Both tied at 5-2 right now. It's been interesting to watch those games. I I've caught most of them as VODs because just the time is horrible.
Yeah.
But it's been fun to watch. Nomiya is like stomping everybody, which is interesting. I don't think people expected that, but they have a 12-0 map record right now. And then Crimson Gaming has a 10-5, and Outlaws Gaming has an 11-6 map record. So it's been interesting to watch. Other than Emprox, the other teams all have wins. So it's like pseudo competitive. I would compare it to if you took like the top 8 open division teams and you constantly made those 8 play each other. I don't think the top 8 are. No, I think that's how I would compare it. Like if you took the top 8 EU open division and said that's it, you guys are a league, play each other. Which makes me feel bad because ANZ actually has an open division.
Yeah.
But their Premier League is just not as competitive. It's a minor region. That's the way it kind of works. And
it's tough. It's like it's tough to find 8 teams worth of really good depth to make for a competitive, really competitive region. It's not to say that it can't get there, and I hope that it does. I think we had a similar situation. You could make the same argument for NA in the beginning of HGC, right? Like the beginning of 2017, the bottom teams were getting stomped by the top teams.
Yeah.
And it's gotten a lot better. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are still days when, teams are getting stomped, but there aren't, LFM, whilst, they're competitive in all their matches, losing, but competitive.
Yeah. I would agree
and
with
EU is like off the charts competitive. So it's playing each other it's going to, level the playing field, to a degree, I feel like. Just consistent play against each other, more scrimming and so on and so forth. I wish Darksided would get back into the scene. I'm kind of sad that they haven't. It was nice. That was a team that was really good that knocked out Nomiya. I don't believe Moops is playing for anyone now. I know I think it's the manager or the owner of Darksided is a fan of the show. He'll have to hit us up, DM us, man. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's interesting, right? If you look at the winner of Premier League is going to play the Latin American winner, and winner of that will be the minor region team going to mid-season brawl. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Of course, there'll be 4 EU teams there, and only 3 NA teams, and then of course the winner of that game, 8th team. Wait, do I have that right, or is it 2? I feel like it was 8 going brawl. This is what happens when you spend 2 weeks off not doing this stuff. So let's jump into a little bit of the Eastern Clash. What do you think? Unless there's something I missed that you want to go over in ANZ. It's always possible.
No. I think we've about covered it, at least for as much as our listeners want to hear.
Okay. Cool. Well, let's jump into trying to look. All right, so let's jump into Eastern Clash. There will be spoilers if you haven't watched last weekend's Eastern Clash and you want to watch the VODs before you listen. Probably stop. In that case, you probably don't read Twitter or anything else either. My pick, Tempest, clearly did not win, or I would be celebrating. Bahgz' pick, KSV Black, also did not win. We were both put to the side, and Ballistics was like, yeah, hold my beer, I got this. The best of 7 against KSV in the grand final was amazing.
It's what I love about it is both clashes went to the full best of 7.
Yes.
Like the viewers were absolutely treated. And in one clash, the team with the map advantage got the win. And the other clash, the team that was down a map starting the best of 7 won. It was like that's how great it was.
Yes.
So
let's dive in a little bit. So Ballistics was eliminated and then had to win their way up through the lower bracket to beating Tempest in the losers finals after being defeated by KSV Black in the winners finals to make it to the grand finals. Where they
Kudos
ended up
to them, by the way. So they got swept. This was all in one day. So they got swept.
That day was insane.
First thing in the morning, they got swept by KSV. Then they dropped the first map to Tempest. So like they've lost their first 4 games of the day, and you've got to be thinking, if you're Ballistics, like what kind of like mental fortitude does that take? Like,
yeah,
we dropped our first 4 maps of the day. Maybe it's just not our day. We're not playing well today, and then they come back and just crush. I don't shouldn't say crush Tempest, but in the next 2 games, they absolutely crush Tempest in the losers bracket. Tempest wins the 4th game. They win a nail biter in the 5th. And then they have to play 6 games against K. So in a total, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, so 1, 2, 8 plus 6, 14 matches played for Ballistic on that day between the winners finals, the losers finals, and then the grand final.
But you can make the same case for Zealots having to go through the thing, right?
But they didn't pull it off.
They didn't pull it off. That's true. Well, and that's the thing, right? Ballistics loses to KSV back 3-0. Then they lose the first game to Tempest, like you said, but end up winning that set 3-2. Then they beat Ballistics. Or, I'm sorry. Then Ballistics beats KSV Black 4-2, really. You had the 1-game map advantage, which I still disagree with, but 4-2. It was a crazy last day of games. The entire set was really, really nice to watch. In fact, the whole tournament was pretty good. I will say Loli Meow did not do great. In fact, I think they lost all of their games. But they were also playing with a sub. Now, whether or not that sub was enough, it's hard to tell, but they were definitely playing with a sub. Their assassin player. I don't think that it was a tank or support I can kind of give you. You know, but I struggle even saying that. Like, if Rich was missing, it would be a struggle for, right? Like,
yes,
those things happen. All right, so that was the grand finals. What else jumped out at you other than, you know, KSV made it all the way to the grand finals, only dropping a single map?
So yeah, KSV looked dominant, by the way, for a while until Ballistics just was playing at a whole nother level. They just turned it on. But for a long time, the KSV's drafts, their execution of the and play style, it was impeccable. They dropped 1 map along the way, and that was it. Tempest, I know you picked them, and with good reason. They were playing like the best team in the world, right up there with Dig. Like, they beat KSV, they beat Ballistics, they were stomping everyone else in HGC Korea. They were the number one Korean team in this tournament. And it's just they didn't bring it. I don't like. Now they lost to KSV Black 3-1. They swept Super Perfect Team pretty handily. They beat Blossom 3-1. That was a competitive series, but no different than what you would see in HGC Korea, right? Since it was Tempest beat them. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it was just they ran into Ballistics when something clicked for them and they caught fire. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's a team that is mechanically very, very good and always has been.
Okay.
It's a team that when things are clicking for them, they are the best team fighting team in the world. And they're exceptional at it. But sometimes I just forever third in Korea for a reason. I guess it's just they don't bring the full package that KSV and Ballistics do to a degree.
So I have a theory. And my theory is that the meta shift post Maev not working for Tempest.
That could be it too. So that's another thing. So teams kind of their play styles hinge on the way the meta gets shaped depending on the builds of certain heroes, right? So it's teams constantly grow in strength and weaken, and constantly their ability, their power level shifts with the changing tides of the game, right? So,
yes, right, exactly. And
maybe they were just heavily affected by it. That's a good theory too. I really can't say. So, and I don't have, unfortunately for us this week, I don't have meta notes, so I can't bring anything up to like.
That's all right.
Point anything out.
All right. But I think that's probably part of what affected it, would be my guess.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is the Chinese team's really, really.
Yeah, that's an understatement. They belly flopped. Let's see here. The only team that they beat in the tournament was Loli Miao, which was the team from Taiwan. Loli Miao didn't pick up a single map. I almost I'll talk about them while we're talking about China too.
Yep.
I almost wonder if the old Please Buff Arthur squad, the Soul Torturers team, I wonder if they would have performed better in this tournament than Loli Miao. And maybe they just had a bad day when they lost in that qualifier tournament. I don't know. Like Loli Miao really disappointed.
Right.
But even just as much, China. Day one, the one swept by KSV Black. Blossom beating Super Perfect Team. The number 4 team from Korea beating Super Perfect Team 2-1. The number 1 team in China. Challenge getting swept by Ballistics. And then then in the next, in the knockout stage, right? So the one beats Loli Miao. Unfortunately, China is forced to knock each other out in the first round there with Super Perfect Team versus Challenge, right?
Right.
But after that, Super Perfect Team swept by Tempest, and they managed to get one win against the 4th best team from Korea.
Blossom, yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. So, in total, they picked up against Korea. I think if I'm looking at this right, they picked up
2 maps.
A total of 2 maps versus Korea in this entire tournament.
Yep. And then obviously the 2 off of Loli Miao.
I'm not even counting those. That's that they just got crushed, dude.
Yeah.
That's like the old NA versus EU days, like just getting stomped, smacked around. Like, geez Louise. It's like
it was rough.
It's like
if you're a Chinese fan, it was rough. I can only imagine how Kendrick and Trixler felt watching that.
Or Tetcher, yeah.
What did I said Trixler, didn't I? Yeah, I meant Tetcher. Sorry, Tetcher. I love you, man. I'm sorry. But I can only imagine how it felt watching that. You know what I mean? It just it was crazy to watch. Cool. Anything else that stood out to you or you want to go over?
No, it was a great clash once we got towards the end of it, and it was just Korea versus Korea. But then it was just like like if you hosted an HGC Korea tournament, it's like all right, the top 4. Duke it out, like in a double elimination bracket. That would have been, that's what it turned into,
Yeah, no, that's exactly
so.
It. Cool. So we got our preview. But before we get into that, I do want to point out that Bahgz absolutely spanked me in phase 1, part 1 in our predictions.
I copy pasted the results so that let's bring that up.
So 40
if we take a look
points, dude.
If we take a look at the results for part 1 of phase 1 and at the points here for our predictions, it looks like Bahgz predicted 106 points worth of accurate predictions to LiQuiud's 66. So we'll say that it was close. It was competitive.
No. I missed a couple weeks. I went all in on Tempest a couple times to my detriment. It's cool. Excuse me. It's cool, man. I lost. I know it. I'm coming back with a vengeance. So I thought I had one more weekend off, to be honest with you guys. For some reason, I thought HGC wasn't coming back till Easter weekend. So I totally hosed that up. So I don't actually have the results of who besides Bahgz and I won and is getting that $20 gift card from me. But I will work on that this week and announce it next week on the show. And then also, before I even do that, I will get the form out tomorrow on Twitter so that you guys can vote and pick and get your picks in so that you can try and win $20 gift card at the end of phase 1 week 2 or phase 1 part 2. So watch Twitter. It'll come out from the at Trolls GG account. I'll probably retweet it along with Trollin HGC retweeting it, but watch for that and get your picks in. And we'll go from there. Awesome. All right. Now, with that said, let's go over the games of this upcoming weekend. So, starting at 4 a.m. on Friday in Korea, these all times are Eastern, of course. Team Ace versus Gluck. You have Team Ace losing 1-3, I have Team Ace losing 2-3. I think they'll push Gluck a little bit harder. They've had a little bit of time to work on that.
Right. Well, so Gluck was the best of the worst, I guess.
Yes.
Put it that way, right? Like they were the best of the 3 brand new teams in HGC Korea.
Yep.
So I think it's just based on what we saw. I think it's safe to say Gluck will win that matchup. 3-2, 3-1. That's just whatever, It's neither here nor there.
That's your bonus points. That's all that is. And then at 6 a.m. is actually one of my games of the weekend. So it's rough, but Friday 6 a.m. Eastern, Tempest versus Ballistics, the rematch that I'm waiting for. Now, I love Tempest. Everybody that watches this show knows I feel like they are the best Korean team. We both picked Ballistics to win this 3-2. It pained me to do so, but I need the points over picking the team I want to win.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud that you remembered Tempest is forever third.
No, I would not go that far. But
forever third.
I do think because we haven't had a major patch between what they played on in Eastern Clash and this, and their performance in Eastern Clash, Tempest isn't winning that. You don't go into a game against the team that just won Eastern Clash and think you're going to win like that. Now, on the other hand, Ballistics may have spent the whole week celebrating, and they're all hungover. But I'm going to go with they're still going to win that. So then jumping over to EU, starting at noon Eastern, we have Zealots versus Diamond Skin. Both of us picked Zealots to win that 3-1. Like, hello, Zealots almost won Western Clash. Like, yeah. And then at 2 p.m. Eastern, we have Dignitas versus Team LiQuiud. You have Dignitas 3-0ing LiQuiud. I agree that Dig has the quality to do that, but I think LiQuiud is going to come out with a vengeance, looking to actually win some games. I think it's going to be, they're going to get a map. A map. Okay. Not more, a map.
We'll see where Dignitas's head is at. You know what? This is a good turkey baster check. Or you know how you like a little temperature check to see if turkey's done?
Yep.
This is good. This is a good temperature check for Dignitas to see where they're at, or a little thermostat check. I want to see where their head's at, right? So they just won the Eastern Clash, but they did get pushed by Zealots. Are they still? It's a good motivation check where they're at. After getting, they just got done rolling over EU. EU, the region that's the most competitive in the world, minus Dig. So see where they're at. I'd like to see him 3-0 and see that they're keeping it sharp, but we'll see.
Right. Okay. And then we have over in NA 5 p.m. Eastern, Simplicity versus Heroes Hearth eSports. We both have HHE winning. I don't know what I was thinking when I put this on. I'm going to go ahead and adjust that real quick. And I think HHE is actually going to 3-0 Simplicity. And you have them going in at 3-1.
Right. So that is based on, I would have picked HHE probably to win in like a 3-2 and it would have been competitive prior to the news that we got last night. Post news we got last night, I actually wouldn't be surprised if it was a 3-0 like you said. I think this team is going to suffer greatly. Beyond,
not only that, Heroes Hearth is in good shape.
Heroes Hearth was played exceptionally well at the Clash. I'm sure they're coming back well rested. They've had 2 weeks off now. That's just like they're ready to rock. I don't disagree. I think Heroes Hearth is a really strong team. They're probably the 4th best team in NA, maybe the 3rd best team in North America. I don't know. We'll see where Freedom's head is at after this week too, after really struggling in the Clash. But yeah, I think Simplicity is going to really recoil from what just what the news that just broke with Erho. Right. So playing with a sub this week, now finding a permanent person to fill that spot, a team that wasn't doing that great to begin with. But I still see him picking up a map win. So I'm going with the 1-3. And that's really kind of like hedging it because a 3-0 is like one team really outplaying each other or getting lucky 3 maps in a row, right? So 3-0 is like, for me to pick a 3-0, I have to be confident that the team that's winning is leaps and bounds better than their opponent. Otherwise, I'm going to hedge my bet with the 3-1 and try and hit the bonus points.
Fair enough. Schizo in chat right now, I actually tend to think he's right in the long run, that Simplicity could possibly do better going forward. I don't think this week is the week they do better, but I could see them doing better both in the short term and the long term if Erho was bringing the rest of the team down. And that's the problem, right? That's what really comes down to. Was Erho poisonous for the whole team, or was it just his personal issues outside of the team that were an issue, right? And we may never know. So I'm really torn. The TMZ aspect of me wants to know, just to be like, oh, dude, I totally know what was going on there. Not to talk about it here, but like, I'd like to know. But on the other side, I'd like to know that the players that we have playing this game can keep shit private. You know what I mean? Like, you guys don't have to spread the news of everything that's happening to everybody. But we're going over games, so let's keep going. And then at 7 p.m. we have Team Freedom versus No Tomorrow. Yep. Freedom. We both have Freedom winning that 3-1.
Ding. You know what?
What?
We forgot to mention that it's old news now, but we didn't do a show last week.
Oh, dude, you're right. So let's go back to this real quick. You're right, because I forgot. I wasn't available and you weren't available. We didn't do a show last week. For those of you not in the know, Space Station Gaming has given the slot back to the team and left HGC. So Space Station Gaming, that team is now playing under the name of No Tomorrow.
Formerly known as No Tomorrow, formerly known as Space Station, formerly known as No Tomorrow.
Yes.
Now back to No Tomorrow.
No Tomorrow. Yep. So yeah.
So yeah.
You know what? Like, I really want to see Jay Shrita win some games. It's 3-1, man. Like, I really want to see No Tomorrow win, but it's 3-1. Like, Freedom looked good.
Listen, Schizo brings up a good point. Freedom was number one in North American HGC until they lost to Space Station Gaming.
Right.
At the tail end of Part 1, Phase 1. So,
yeah.
Just saying that this roster has beaten them before and recently.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's true.
That being said, I agree with you. Freedom's going to win 3-1.
I can't see it happening, you know? All right. Jumping over to Saturday in Korea, 4 a.m., we have Miracle versus KSV Black. We both have KSV Black sweeping that 3-0. Nothing really to see here.
This is a good example of where I was saying when a team has to be leaps and bounds better than the opponent they're playing for me to pick a sweep. And that's a good example of it. I think KSV's leaps and bounds better than their former sister team Miracle. And yeah, go on.
Then we have Team Blossom playing Feliz at 6 a.m. Eastern. We both have Blossom winning that 3-0. Again, just solid team versus a new team. It's going to happen. Jumping into EU at noon Saturday Eastern, we have Dignitas versus Fnatic. Watch this game. It will be awesome. I see that you just can't let it go. I can't, dude. I can't do it.
I'd like to introduce you to a song produced by Disney a couple of years ago.
No, please don't. Please don't.
It's called Let It Go from this movie Frozen. It's got this adorable snowman in it and reindeer. Anyways,
I can't.
You need to let it go.
I can't.
Fnatic isn't going to beat Dig. They clearly showed at the Clash that it's not there. It's not there.
I can't, man. I can't.
They haven't found the secret sauce. Dig is going to win 3-1. I would like to bet all the figurines that are on top of my desk right now on that.
You know what the biggest problem is?
I'll wager something else with you. Whatever you want.
I can let Tempest go. I can let Tempest go. I can't let Fnatic go, man. I can't do it. It's not even the Swedish boy band anymore, and I just can't do it. I can't let it go. I don't know why. I can't let it go, though. So you have Dig winning 3-1, and you are probably correct, sir. But I have Fnatic winning 3-2. So a sit in I have no idea how to pronounce your name. I'm just guessing. Saying Fnatic was doing well in scrims before Quacknix got sick. And that's a good point. Quacknix got sick and went home. Before Western Clash happened, Quacknix was sick. That's a big deal, Quacknix being out. That's a big deal. So, I'm just saying, there's a chance if Fnatic is it.
If Fnatic, and I'm making an expensive wager with you right now, and it's going to be one-sided. You don't even have to agree to it.
Hold on, before you do it.
If Fnatic wins, I will buy a Fnatic jersey and wear it as soon as it gets in.
All right. So, for those of you that watched before, I actually owe Bahgz buying a Dig jersey. I'm actually going to buy that for my kid because he wears, I don't wear jerseys, but he wears jerseys. But I'm going to like do something so you guys can all see that I have it. But, and so I do need to order that. But, I mean, all right, man. That's fine. If you want to.
You don't even have to wager anything.
Yep,
I'm going solo. I'm going out on a plank here.
Okay.
I'm going out on a limb. I just wanted to say plank of Sea of Thieves released today. And
I know, man.
Later.
My kids have been playing it all day, and I had to work. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, I have to listen to them play this game.
They're probably playing that accordion thing all day.
Yeah, they were.
Anyways, I'm going to go out on a plank here, and I'm just going to make a wager with you by myself. If Dignitas loses this weekend, I will wear a Fnatic jersey, and I'll wear it on the show.
All right.
I will be embarrassed, and I won't stick Fnatic on my head, but I'll spend some money on a jersey. All right,
okay.
And
support
the team.
Okay, we can do that. 2 p.m. on Saturday, we have Method versus Leftovers. I hate to do this, but both of us have Method winning 3-1. I think Method's overrated, but that's my own personal issue. Much like I keep saying the Fnatic's going to win. Jumping into NA at 5 p.m. Saturday, another one of my games of the week. Team Freedom versus Team 12. You and I disagree here on the winner of this one as well.
We're splitting hairs.
Well, I mean, you have Freedom 3-2. I have 12 3-2. It is,
you know, right? Like it's gonna be. Here's my thing. I think this one's gonna be a nail biter. I think it's two teams that are very, very good.
Yes.
Probably not as good as Tempo Storm. Both of them. I'm willing to say that. I think Tempo Storm, based on the results of the Clash, they're probably the best team in North America. It's a very talented roster. What they have working for them is working, right?
Yep.
That being said, I think Team Freedom and Team 12 are gunning for that number 2 spot. It's extremely competitive, and I'm probably a little biased.
It's okay. I mean, you wear your Freedom jersey all the time, so I just assume, but it's okay. We can work with that. That's fine. Then at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have Tempo versus LFM Esports. Hero, I know you're in the channel, man. I'm sorry. I have Tempo winning 3-0. They are the best team in NA right now. God, it hurt to say that, but they are the best team in NA right now. And you have Tempo winning 3-1 with LFM taking a map. That would be amazing, and I hope that's the case. I really do. Like, I want to see LFM, like, surprise all of us. I really do. And I think you guys have the tools to do it. It's just a matter of hitting that sweet spot. So I keep hoping for you guys, but I don't see it, man. Not against Tempo. Not at this point. So go ahead.
I think LFM's going to win a map. I think the team's great. Sorry. Great would be like they're going to beat Tempo. I think the team is the best 8th place team we've ever had in North American HGC in the North American HGC.
Okay.
I think seriously. So I think they'll take a map off Tempo. I think some of the games will be competitive and they'll probably get blown out in one. And that's kind of like a boring, guesstimate, but I don't think they're going to be swept. I don't think they're going to be swept.
That's fair enough. All right. Jumping over to Sunday, back to Korea, 4 a.m. We have Ace versus Tempest. I mean, both of us picked Tempest to 3-0 Ace. I think that's probably a given. And then we have at 6 a.m. Gluck versus KSV Black. Also KSV 3-0ing Gluck. I mean, I think all of those are straightforward games. Then at noon in EU, we have Leftovers versus Zealots. We're both picking Leftovers to get a map off Zealots, but Zealots to 3-1 to win. And then 2 o'clock Eastern, we have Diamond Skin versus Tricked Esports. You think Diamond Skin will take this to 5 and end up losing 3-2 to Tricked? I think Tricked only loses a map and that goes 3-1. I think that's one of those toss-ups. It could go either way, though. I do want to adjust this. All right, and then at 5 p.m. over in North America, 5 p.m. Eastern, we have HHE versus Gale Force Esports. You and I both agree that Heroes Hearth wins.
I think this is going to be. So we had Cav on recently to preview the Western Clash, and I think Heroes Hearth is, I think Heroes Hearth and Gale Force are both similar in abilities as teams, and I think it's just it's another one of those back and forth series. I'm gonna give the edge to Heroes Hearth based on the recent results. They did beat Gale Force early, at the tail end of part 1,
right,
to qualify for the Clash, and and again they performed well at the Clash. Or did they beat them? Or I think they beat them.
Yeah.
Memory shot now, but I think it's gonna be close. So I'm giving it to Heroes Hearth in a close series, 3-2. This is the 4th and 5th best teams in NA. That's all.
Okay. And then we have at 7 p.m. LFM Esports versus Simplicity for the last match of the week. This is where you and I both agree LFM's finally going to get it done and win 3-2.
I think there's two parts to this. I think LFM has improved as a roster.
Yep.
As this, as the season has progressed. I think Heroes coached them up and provided a lot of structure for them and cool strats and stuff, and the X's and O's and coach speak.
The X's and O's. I like it, man. I like it.
But I also think, again, Simplicity is, going to be recoiling from losing Erho. And I could be wrong. Maybe it'll be like the greatest thing that ever happened to them. Who knows? Addition by subtraction, right? But I think they're going to be recoiling from, because, Heroes is such a synergistic game. And, I'll give you a good example. That Creators of the Storm shirt you won. You know which team won that? The Trollin Blizz team won that.
Well, I can't say our team,
and guess
right?
what? We weren't the most. We didn't have the highest quality of players and high elo and super mechanical gods, but we had really great comms, and it seemed to make a big difference. Because I was very impressed. We were very on point.
And Mystic Shroud.
and Mystic and Rosai, and Rosai, killing it.
I know. I give him a hard time every time because it's like, dude, just grind the ladder, show people the rank you should be. Grind the ladder. He doesn't like doing it.
So anyway, I think in two parts, I think that the huge synergistic implications of losing a player for Simplicity and how that may affect comms, and it just happening so last minute because it's literally a couple days before this weekend. I think that's going to have a huge effect on them. So I'm taking LFM 3-2.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I think that's where we're going to leave the preview. I am going to go ahead and say that the poll is complete enough.
Concluded?
And, yeah, Erho is definitely done according to everybody that voted. So
according to fan opinion,
Erho is done.
Fan the player, but fan opinion. Let's take a look at the results here. It's 89% in favor of Erho being done.
I think it's even higher if you count the chat votes.
I don't even.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's dive into Dorsh's favorite section of the show.
All right. Let's do that.
And the mastermind storm is awaiting them. Welcome to the paint train.
Kill the boss! Can they do it? It's too much damage for me! And that's GG!
All right, so we do have, because it's Tuesday, we do have some results of the EU Open Division, Cup number 6, which did finish earlier today. Singularity took this week off. The real question is, I don't know if they're taking next week off or not, but they have guaranteed their first place position going into going into the Crucible or into the playoffs. So they are no longer. They may compete next week. They may not, but they definitely didn't compete this week. But so that opened the door, right? In worst positioning, played E-Punks and won 2-0 in the first semifinal. Valhalla playing Terez Radzina and losing to them 2-1 in the second semifinal, setting up a third place match. Valhalla winning over E-Punks 2-0, but with a final that actually went to game number 3. Worst positioning winning 2-1 over Terez Radzina. Some really sick competition going on in the EU Open Division right now. I know that Team Singularity took the week off, but it's still not like, you know, one team's running away with it all. They have not won every cup. They just have enough points that they're guaranteed the first place seed. They have 3 wins right now, and then they have they have 3 poorer performances. So, you know, we'll see how they do. But they didn't care. They got just enough to, yeah, no, they did double ducky. They played and then they were like, cool, we're out. They're taking next week off. Like if you watch that game, they kind of had fun. So does it count? Like, I don't know. I guess it counts. But they were just having fun, right? Like, if you look at the way Open Division works, if you're a top team, you end up getting a bye for the first round. And then in most of these tournaments, second round is netting you points, right? So if you get a bye and then you just play your second round game to get whatever you get and you secure enough points to guarantee that seed, that's what they did. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but that's what they did. So they're definitely in. But if you look at the rest of the teams, like the top 8 isn't on top of each other, but the top 5 is definitely, like, any of the top 5 have the ability to be any of the other top 5. So it should be a good playoff when we get to the playoff in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to that.
I think you can say that for both Open Divisions, or North America and
yeah,
EU.
the same is true for North America. That's absolutely true. Other than you know, yeah, no, you're right. Just pulling it up right now. If you look at it, fact. All right, good. ODI did just disband last week, so they're out. They were just on the cusp, so had they come back and done any kind of points, they probably could have stayed in top 8, but they're out. If you look at the top 5, no, top 6 in NA, that's also the case.
Yeah.
That any of the top 6 can be any of the other top 6. But looking at the semifinals that we have tonight, we have XD versus EID tonight, and then Funkus, which used to be SMV, playing Rouge Eto. So 4 solid teams for the semifinals, and then obviously the finals and third place games will be played after that. That does start at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Blizz Heroes channel, and on the Heroes Hype channel will have the third place game after the 2 semifinals finish. I say confused. I cannot read chat and this document at the same time anymore. I am so out of practice. All right.
It's all good. It's all good.
I like saying it Monkass instead of Monka-S. Like, why would you name your team that? Come on, leave it as SMV. SMV was a good name. I'm just saying. Anyway, okay. So, Heroes of the Dorm has been a lot of fun to watch. If you haven't watched it, try to check it out. Great now that's on Twitch. You don't have to deal with the
it's on the Blizz Heroes channel.
Facebook crap, because Facebook sucks. So I've been following it as much as I can. But tomorrow, right, Wednesday, is the bracket reveal on ESPN, if I remember correctly. I think it said on ESPN, right?
It is. So tomorrow, I have the tweet up now, actually. Tomorrow, the Heroes of the Dorm bracket reveal from the ESPN eSports studios with @PhilSports, which is ESPN associate, The Source, and Halloran. So how hype is that? Pretty hype. Halloran, guest of the show, former creators of Stormcaster on ESPN Esports. On pretty cool, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's tomorrow at 1 Eastern.
Eastern? Yep.
Yeah,
Also, rounding out the amateur news, Chair League just went and canceled their season that was about to start last night. So the night before the season started, Chair League canceled the season. And that was based on feedback that they got in their Discord channel from all of the teams that were either playing or not playing. I know that sounds weird, but teams that had left Chair League to go to other places, like, were giving feedback to Chair League. And so, yeah, yep. So he canceled that season. And then NGS season 4, as everybody in chat is already talking about NGS. Sign up deadline is the 25th, which is Sunday. And then the season starts April 8th. So definitely make sure you check that out. All right. Now we're going to talk a little about this, because I know this is like a hot topic, and like chat was like, why, what, how, when? All right. So between season 2 and 3, I was heavily involved with Chair League. I was on the rules committee. I'm still a moderator for their Discord channel. So I know at least a little bit. I also watched as the ship burned into the ground. In fact, it was weird. Like, the decisions that were made, I understood the logic behind the decisions that were made, but it was bound to set up the situation we're in now, where you have NGS thriving as a league and a community, and Chair League really struggling. Some of that is around NGS not having a payment structure, around having how they have the scheduling set up, around just taking all of the things that people didn't like about Chair League and throwing those out and being like, cool, we're here. I think season 1 of NGS was a little bit of a struggle, but they've continually made it better.
Right.
The other thing that's really nice about NGS, and this sounds like an NGS commercial, I promise it's not. There's not a huge gap between seasons. And the huge gap between Chair League seasons is really part of the issue there. So
it's months and months.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's weird. I understand. So I think with NGS, I think the difference, and maybe Dorsch, if I get any of this wrong, like, correct me if I'm chat. Dorsch is one of the writers for Trolls GG. He's also a writer for NGS, heavily involved in NGS. But I feel like part of the difference is NGS is run by committee, where Chair League is Super Jova running it, and then there's other people that try to help him. But at the end of the day, it's still Super Jova running it.
Yeah.
So it's like a struggle, right? Like,
yeah, I understand. He's not able to.
Right.
Everything's on his shoulders, and he's not able to. What's the word I'm looking for?
Keep up?
No. Yeah, keep up, but he's not able to delegate. He's not able to delegate the work.
He doesn't delegate at all. Well, I shouldn't say that, because I'm not as heavily involved as I used to be. My experience is he struggles delegating. Yes, 100%. Maybe that's getting better over time. I don't know. But it's his baby, right? And he does what he does with it. At this, part of me wants to agree with him, because it is like, I get the Ganja Goon didn't mean it this way, but it kind of is his product. Like, he made it, and it was wildly popular, and he tried to tweak it, and it failed, and he still looks at it as his baby, and he doesn't, it is his baby. I hope he does well. I hope he figures it out. It would be great to see 2 strong amateur scenes in NA. But at least in the meantime, we have a strong NGS, and EU has a strong HOTS Lounge. So Ganja is Goon HOTS. Sorry. Hero. Anyway,
he's rebranded.
Is he rebranded though? Like, is that what you're going with, man? Are you gonna change all your Discord and everything?
Oh yeah, everything's changed. Everything's changed.
Okay,
It's got a
all
new
right.
logo, all sorts of stuff.
All right, then I apologize, man. I will call you Goon Hots from now on. All right, so that's where we are, right? That's kind of, it's a weird situation. It's strange. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I think will come out of it. It'll be interesting to watch. I don't know if it's gonna be another 6 months before we see a chair league. And if we see a chair league in 6 months after 2 more seasons of NGS, do we need chair league at that point? You know what I mean? Like, does it matter?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think this is going to be tough for Super Jova to come back from and kind of rebuild the player base that he had. And it's very unfortunate. I don't know, regardless of the amount of feedback he got, that he should have canceled the season the day before it was supposed to start. You know, kudos to him for immediately, you know, when he did cancel the season, immediately, you know, issuing those refunds and that but the whole thing is kind of sad to see that it's kind of been having the amount of issues it's been having.
Right.
That being said, NGS, chair league, similar leagues, this is all the garden of heroes community where these little seeds are planted, these competitive seeds are planted for players to kind of get that taste for five-man Heroes of the Storm. And if they have the time, the drive, and the passion to grow from it, and maybe someday, you know, join an open division team, and then next thing you know, you're the next Cure or Sonic Le Beast crushing it in the Clash.
So, I feel like I would miss an opportunity here, and Daz would be sad if I did. But NGS. Okay, first of all, yes, Hero, during the Rory era, it was a disaster. Way better now. Second, I feel like I should point out that NGS is actually the platform that we're using for our beer league. Which is awesome. Right? Like, we were able to make that work. It's awesome. So, yes. All said and done, NGS is really looking solid right now, and I hope they continue to grow, and I hope Chair League figures out what they need to change. So, yeah. And
We'll
having
see.
said that, I could be completely wrong.
It's just, listen, man, I don't get too choked up about these things. Like, and the reason being is sometimes you have your moment in the sun and then that's it. It's over.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's all. That's all. These times are changing, man. And you know, it's just life marches on, like that country song.
All right, so we do have one little bit of well, wait, first, before I do that, do you have anything you want to go over before we jump into the feedback?
No, I think I'm all set.
Okay. All right, so we did get a little bit of feedback a while ago, I believe on the show with Cavalier Guest. We were talking about how I liked the Chinese version of a 2-game series. And wish that they would do that in certain places. We got some feedback, and we got a note, and you know what? I not have this person's name. I'm just gonna look it up real quick.
Reading through this, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Can you start reading through it, and I'll find this guy's name.
Oh, sure. All right. Well, you work on that. I've got this.
Thank you,
guys. Well, he didn't say guys, but we're gonna assume he did for this. I'm gonna paraphrase. Guys, love the show, but a 2-game series that can end in a tie is not good for the viewers. Quote, end quote. As a viewer, I want somebody to win or to lose. Now, imagine getting hyped for an upcoming series and then nobody wins or loses. It's like reading what you thought was a great book until the end of it was ruined so badly you wish you had never wasted your time on it at all. On January 28th, they opened the day with 3 consecutive ties. I love high-level play as much as anybody else, but that was 4 hours of people's lives that were wasted, that they will never get back. It wasn't until they were trotting out the 7th and 8th teams of the day that a team finally captured a series. There was a team that had 8 ties just in Phase 1. And this was brought to us by... You didn't find it yet, did you?
No. Oh my God, no. I'm still looking for it. This unnamed feedback guy. Thank you for your feedback. I'm trying to quickly find the email I got from Daz, because I actually don't get the web feedback forms. He forwards them to me, and for some reason, I just cannot find it, man. So I apologize, but we do want to thank you for the feedback, because you rose a lot of good points. And actually, like, I'm happy to hear another alternative to where I was going with it. So thank you for that. Absolutely.
How about a compromise? Best of 3s.
For
regular season matches.
I guess best of 3s could maybe work. I don't know. It's I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think at the end of the season, after BlizzCon, you and I are going to have to sit down and come up with, like, what would be the perfect format for everything. Like,
we can do that.
Just as maybe like a filler episode when we don't have much going on.
Yeah, we can do that. In the off season, we can absolutely do that. We can come up with how we'd like to see HGC run 20...
Twitch chat already hating on the best of 3s.
Well, I mean, best of 3s like really short. I know, man. I know.
Regular season matches. They're not playoff matches. They're not knockout matches. They're they're filler matches.
All right. First of all, thank you, Big Chris, for the feedback. I did find it. Thank you.
All right.
Second of all, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we will have a show where we look at coming up with some of those. I think we can do that. Absolutely. Cool. All right. I think that's it, unless you have anything else you want to bring up tonight.
I'm all set, man.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you all for listening to Trollin HGC, a weekly podcast about Heroes of the Storm eSports, a member of the Trolls.gg Entertainment Network. We stream live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrollsGG, every week on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Bahgz, where can people find you?
Guys, you can follow me on Twitter at Bahgz HGC, where I tweet out pictures of my dog, whatever my happenings are in life, esports stuff, Heroes stuff, Blizzard stuff, whatever. You can also watch me stream on twitch.tv/Bahgz. I am putting that a little bit on the back burner now because that chewed up a lot of my free time outside of watching Heroes and, preparing for the podcast. I just closed on a piece of vacant land, and I've got a lot of work ahead of me if I want to try and get a house built and be living in it by the end of the year. So for now, streaming is going to take a back burner except for like evenings that I'm free and not doing anything, which aren't very many. So that being said, follow me on Twitter. I'll tweet out when I do go live. As well, if you enjoyed tonight's show, I do another show called The Weekly Blizz. We just had our 50th episode where an old high school buddy of mine, Guaz, we cover all of Blizzard's esports offerings. So StarCraft, Warcraft, Overwatch, Heroes. Overwatch and Heroes are the majority of it, as well as Hearthstone. And it's found on all podcast sources, and it's streamed on twitch.tv/PowerUpNetwork. LiQuid, where can people follow you?
All right, so best place to follow me on Twitter at LiQuiudGG. That's LiQiuDGG. I tweet whenever I try to tweet whenever I'm going to be doing something interesting or something grabs my attention. I have been social media absent for the last 2 weeks, as well as being absent from the show, but trying to get back into the swing of things now that my personal life has calmed down a little bit. So I should be tweeting more and hopefully streaming soon. I'm hoping. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy this show, you can support us in a variety of ways. That is patreon.com/TrollsGG. You can follow us on Twitter at Trollin HGC for show announcements or Heroes of the Storm eSports news. Follow us on Twitch. Subscribe on Twitch, twitch.tv/TrollsGG. Or you can find our show on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and every other podcast system out there. Please give us a rating or a review. We'd love to get feedback from people. Send us your thoughts so that we can answer you, talk about it on the show, whatever it is. Also visit our website, www.trolls.gg. Have a number of articles out there that our writers are publishing, and we post all of our podcasts there. If you need to get in touch with us, Twitter DMs are open, or you can email us at trollin@trolls.gg. Thank you to our chieftain, Super Dave. You are the man for supporting our show in a way that you do. He's also a writer for us now, but still supporting the show and creating content for trolls.gg. So he's just all around getting a bunch of stuff done. If you're interested in NA Open Division, check out his articles. Right now, he is only covering that, but he's already dropped some good stuff to check out. I think that's it. So we're going to wrap the show up here. We will see you guys in the Nexus.
Peace out.